Hey there, kababayan. Have you ever wondered where Filipinos face the most challenges abroad? Did you know that millions of Filipinos work and live in other countries? Their hard work and perseverance are truly admirable. In this video, we'll take a look at 10 countries where discrimination against Filipinos is a serious problem. We'll explore stories of hardship, abuse, and injustice. Let's get started. Germany is known for its strong economy, which is one of the largest in Europe. The country boasts a robust industrial sector, advanced technology, and a highly skilled workforce. It also offers a high standard of living, with excellent healthcare, education, and social services that attract people from all over the world. Many Filipinos dream of working and living there, drawn by the promise of better job opportunities and a higher quality of life. But even though it's a progressive country, discrimination still exists, especially against foreigners. This can make integration challenging for newcomers. One significant problem Filipinos face in Germany is the language barrier. Learning German can be difficult, and not being fluent can limit one's opportunities. It's hard to find a job and make friends if you don't speak German. Many Filipinos struggle to navigate daily life and professional environments without language proficiency. Sometimes Filipino professions and degrees aren't recognized, forcing them to take jobs below their skill level. This can be frustrating and demoralizing for highly qualified individuals. There's also discrimination in housing and everyday life. Finding a place to live can be difficult, and some face prejudice from landlords and neighbors. Thankfully, some organizations help Filipinos find jobs, learn German, and adjust to life there. These support networks are crucial for easing the transition and helping them thrive in their new environment. Japan is famous for its culture, technology, and discipline. But behind the beautiful scenery and modern buildings, some Filipino OFWs experience discrimination. One of the problems they face is the language. It's hard to communicate if you don't speak Japanese. There are also reports of housing discrimination. Despite these challenges, many Filipinos choose to stay in Japan because of higher pay and better opportunities compared to the Philippines. Australia is known for being a multicultural country. But even so, some Filipinos still face discrimination, especially in less urban areas. Sometimes they aren't hired because of their race or skin color. Sometimes they're paid less than Australians for the same job. There are organizations in Australia that provide support and help to Filipinos experiencing discrimination. Chapter 4: Saudi Arabia, a harsh reality for many OFWs. Saudi Arabia has one of the largest numbers of OFWs. These overseas Filipino workers leave their homeland in search of better opportunities, hoping to provide a brighter future for their families. But despite their significant contribution to the country's economy, many experience abuse and discrimination. They often face harsh working conditions and are treated unfairly by their employers. There are reports of unpaid wages, mistreatment, and even sexual abuse. These workers endure long hours with little to no rest, and their basic human rights are frequently violated. Under the kafala system, an OFW's visa is tied to their employer. This system gives employers excessive control over their workers, making it difficult for them to seek help or escape abusive situations. This means they can't change jobs or leave the country without their employer's permission. The lack of freedom and autonomy leaves many OFWs feeling trapped and helpless. Because of this, many OFWs are afraid to complain even if they're being abused. The fear of retaliation and the possibility of losing their job keeps them silent. They hope that by working abroad, they can lift their families out of poverty. Despite the challenges, their primary goal remains to provide a better life for their loved ones back home. Chapter 5: Italy, between acceptance and exclusion. There's a large Filipino community in Italy, but that doesn't mean life is easy for them. Many still experience discrimination, especially at work. Sometimes they aren't given proper wages and benefits, or they're overworked. Besides workplace discrimination, some Filipinos experience social exclusion. Sometimes they're not welcome in establishments or communities because of their race. They form organizations and groups to support each other and defend their rights. Chapter 6: South Korea, a land of K-pop and growing pains. South Korea's growing economy has increased the demand for workers, including Filipinos. But despite this opportunity, many still experience discrimination. One problem is the language barrier. It's hard to find work and socialize if you don't speak Korean. There are also reports of housing discrimination. Despite these challenges, many Filipinos choose to stay in South Korea because of higher pay and better opportunities. Chapter 7. United Arab Emirates, a glittering facade with underlying challenges. The UAE is known for its tall buildings, expensive cars, and luxurious lifestyle. But behind the glamour, many Filipino OFWs struggle and face discrimination. One problem is unfair wages. Sometimes they're paid less than workers from other countries, even if they have the same job. There are also reports of abuse and discrimination from employers. Some Filipinos aren't paid, are overworked, and are mistreated. They hope that by working abroad they can lift their families out of poverty. Chapter 8. Hong Kong, a city of contrasts, where hope and hardship collide. Hong Kong has long been a destination for Filipino domestic workers, but despite their important role in society, many face discrimination and abuse. Some employers don't provide enough food, rest time, or private space. There are also reports of verbal and physical abuse. Because of their visa status, many domestic workers are afraid to complain. They form organizations and groups to support each other and fight for their rights. Chapter 9. Kuwait, a land of broken promises for some OFWs. Kuwait is one of the countries with the largest number of OFWs. These overseas Filipino workers come with dreams of better opportunities and a brighter future for their families back home. They leave behind their loved ones, hoping to earn enough to provide a more comfortable life. But despite their significant contribution to the country's economy, many experience abuse and discrimination. The reality for many OFWs is far from the promises made to them before they left the Philippines. There are reports of unpaid wages, mistreatment, and even sexual abuse. These issues are not isolated incidents but rather a widespread problem that affects many OFWs in Kuwait. Under the kafala system, an OFW's visa is tied to their employer. This system gives employers significant control over their workers, often leading to exploitation. This means they can't change jobs or leave the country without their employer's permission. The lack of freedom and autonomy makes it difficult for OFWs to escape abusive situations. Because of this, many OFWs are afraid to complain even if they're being abused. The fear of retaliation and the possibility of losing their job keeps them silent. They hope that by working abroad, they can lift their families out of poverty. Despite the hardships, the dream of a better life for their loved ones keeps them going, enduring the challenges they face in a foreign land. Chapter 10. Malaysia, a troubling reality. Check for Filipinos. Sadly, Malaysia tops the list of countries with the worst discrimination against Filipinos. From work to everyday life, many Filipinos experience oppression and injustice. Many Filipinos work in Malaysia as construction workers, factory workers, and domestic helpers. But instead of being respected and valued, they're often looked down upon, hurt, and not paid fairly. There are also reports of Filipinos imprisoned without cause or even killed without mercy. We must advocate for their rights and justice. Outro. Standing strong resilience in the face of discrimination. It's sad to think that despite the hard work and dedication of our OFWs, some countries still don't treat them fairly. Discrimination is a big problem that we must work together to solve. If you or someone you know is experiencing discrimination, don't be afraid to ask for help. Until next time, everyone.